Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to something a little bit different that I've never done for the channel. It is a vlog, yes, I will have RuneScape going in the background. But this is kind of a, you guys getting to know me kind of episode of like why I came to YouTube, some of my prior experiences, like what led me overall to here and to who I am. Initially, when I started the channel, I went by the name of Manithral. Well, not Manithral, but Hividraj. Now, Hividraj, it was just a name I had made up. Well, yeah, it was a name I made up. I used a translator. It's supposed to mean white dragon as well. Dragons are cool. The color was just because every other color was taken. So I was just like, well, let's just go with this one, and it actually worked. That's what it originally was for, and then, I changed it to Manithral, which was actually a name I had completely made up, for myself, for my old Iron Man account. And, well, I didn't start a YouTube back when that happened, and I kind of wanted to have it go along with, my hardcore Iron Man. So basically what I did was, instead of having multiple hardcore Iron Man accounts, I killed them all to start this out. But now for the main part of the video is, you guys getting to know me, not so much just the evolution of my channel. But my real name is actually Nick Manithral. Some of you who have looked at my Twitter or followed me on Twitter, you'll know, that was actually my real name. It just has it backwards. Because somebody already used my actual name, which I thought was kind of weird. But, who knows, maybe there's just another person out there with the same name. But yeah, so that's my real name. I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania, in the United States. I won't go into too much detail about location, but that's where I'm from. It's a very nice little neighborhood. The only problem with the nice small town neighborhoods, especially when you go into certain areas, it's not that they're bad areas. It's just that for people who are kind of like me, we're not as well known in the area, and there's not that many of us. So, to come across, fellow people like myself, it was kind of hard to do, even growing up through school. So, you kind of feel kind of like an outcast, because you're not the norm in the area. And it's nothing against, the people who do enjoy the traditional things in the area. Godspeed to them. It's not me. But it makes somebody feel more isolated when they don't quite fit into that mold. And I always had a little bit of issues with whenever I was growing up too, because well, I'm sure you guys can see it. I am a bigger guy, but I wasn't always a bigger guy. Back when I was younger, I got diagnosed with pneumonia, and back then, when I was a kid, it was extremely strong, and the medicine they had at the time was mixed with a lot of compounds, basically, that'll promote weight gain. And due to that, I gained a lot of weight, and it didn't go well for me. I ended up gaining a lot of weight, and since I was pretty well bedridden, sorry about this little weird moment there with that, I had to close something out because the game froze. But because of that, I gained a lot of weight, which further decreased my, involvement with other people, because it just wasn't something that's really, it's not something people were generally nice about, basically. And so, becoming a bigger person, it kind of hindered me, and it affected me mentally. and emotionally. Well, the same thing to me, but so that was what was going on with me whenever I was younger. You know, I was even more secluded because of my size. As I got older, I cared less and less about that, which as a person should. You know, your size does not define you. You define you. If that makes any sense. You're more of your actions, not what you look like. And people, I really wish, would hope to understand that and stop, you know, degrading other people for that. But, so, you know, by the time I hit high school, you know, I was a lot more confident than I used to be. And then once I got out into the working world, it really made me flourish and blossom with that. But, you know, it had its profound effect on me when I was younger, which, you know, it made me feel more secluded. But as I got older, like I said, you know, it wasn't as much of a big deal. The only other problem is for somebody who is like me with the other stuff, it, you know, prevented some issues with me and females. So relationships had some issues with that. And to top it off, you know, I come from, I would have to say, a poor family, maybe middle class, and it really, you know, for America, sorry, I know every culture is different, every region is different. You know, what some people consider middle class is actually just normal, or lower class is normal. It's just in this country, things are weighed heavily upon how much wealth you and your family has, so that's sad, but it's true. So, you know, we couldn't always afford, you know, different things. We had a lot of hardships whenever I was growing up. And, you know, extra stuff like, you know, what I'm doing right now was just completely unheard of for us. Our first computer was actually given to us by our one aunt. And it was one of those really old style computers, but, like, you know, me and my brother, we absolutely loved it. We kept dabbling with it and seeing what it could all do, and just, we had a blast with it. And that's, I think that's a big part of where my love for technology took off back, even with the old NES. And that's where my love of gaming actually took off, was the NES. But, so I mean, you know, for us, technology, it was something that was kind of hard to come by. Usually by the time there was a new system or new computer stuff out, we were like 2-3 stages behind. So, you know, it just, it was hard to do, but my parents are like, me and my brothers were our parents. I have 2 brothers. They always did everything they could for us, but, you know, sad but true, but money limits everything. And I'm not whining about it, it's just it gives you a different appreciation for life and for different things that you have and don't have. But then, you know, as time went on, you know, things like that part never really bothered me. I didn't care about if we had a lot of money. But as I got older, you know, in high school, you know, you started getting involved with relationships and stuff like that. You know, regardless of how many or there is, it's just you start getting involved with that. And my first actual real girlfriend was in high school, and she's actually the one that got me into RuneScape. Now, she no longer plays, she stopped playing a long time ago, but I just kept with it. And I love the game. You know, I played it hard, especially when I was in school, a lot harder than I should have. I should have paid more attention to school than I did, but, you know, it is what it is. So far, you know, like, basically my life is just, it's a very simple life. It's just, there wasn't a lot I could do. Going out and hanging out with friends, you know, that was something that was kind of unheard of for me, because, well, it's just transportation, gas money, and stuff like that. It was a factor, you know. And I live in the countryside, so that kind of stuff was a huge factor. But, you know, I had a good childhood. It might not have been perfect. There was a lot of fighting about money between, my parents, that kind of traditional kind of stuff whenever that, is an issue. But it wasn't until I started working that I actually started having more and more problems, because I am a person who does suffer from depression and anxiety. And most days, I'm pretty good. I can get myself out of it. I've developed different techniques for helping myself with it, and it generally works. But we all have our bad days, and the older I got, the harder certain things became with understanding, failed relationships and stuff like that, and it really started to eat away at me. And then the one time I was with this one woman, and we were hitting it off. I thought was extremely well, and turns out it really didn't end well. And whenever she left, I pretty much thought my life was done at that point. Like, there was nothing left for me out there to do. There was no hope for finding somebody. And I know that's, through the traditional ear, it might sound childish or ridiculous, but it's the point of, when you have somebody who is, has that depression, has that anxiety, those kind of thoughts can be a lot stronger than they should be. And those kind of, people like that, we know that is the case, but it still eats away at us. So, yeah. So by the time, I was in a very dark place, a very deep place, and I started, I always thought YouTube was kind of foolish, but here and there I like to watch it. I'm sure you guys have heard of them by now, at least. Not, I'm kind of surprised, but Markiplier. Here and there I would watch his videos about new games, VR, that kind of stuff. I'd watch his channel for that. And then one time, work was always slow, so they had us laid off quite a bit. So I was watching a lot of his videos. I was just laying in bed watching videos. I had no desire to even play games anymore. I was just laying in bed all the time. And I started watching more and more of his videos, and then I started to actually feel really, really good. I started to laugh. I started getting back to my old self. And then I started watching more and more YouTubers, Jacksepticeye, Lord Minion777, eventually into Patrick Static and Graco Blue Moon, and all these names, and it's just like, I started feeling more myself. I started feeling really good. And when I started watching these people, and I started to see what they did for other people, and it would be for, because I've always been a fan of wanting to help other people, and when I started seeing what these people were doing for other people just by making content on YouTube, it was cheering people up, making them laugh, and it was having a positive effect on me. And it's just like, wow, this is really, really huge. This is something that, gaming is something I love. And, what better way to help people and do stuff for people than by doing the stuff you love, the stuff that you can actually, be yourself in, the stuff that, you love to do. That, it just, I don't know, it's something, there's something that just appealed to me so much about it because of, appealing to a community that was, and communicating with a community that was more like myself than trying to fit in with a community that was not like me. And when I started seeing that, and I started seeing all these fundraisers, live streams that all these YouTubers were doing that I was watching, and I was like, wow, these people are really doing a lot of good for the world and for their communities and for their channel. And it's just like, wow, this is the kind of thing that I could do. And when I seen that this is the kind of stuff I could do, that's all it took. Then everything was launched from there. So, all these big YouTubers, probably I'd have to say the the biggest influential one that I had was probably between Wade, Lord Minion 77, and Patrick Static, Patrick. Because I felt like I could identify most with them, but it wasn't until like I seen all these people do this stuff that I felt like, people can have a huge effect on the world, whether it's, celebrity size or even small, whatever. Everybody can have an effect on the world. And we all have our unique gifts, our unique things about us that make us who we are. And to be able to use, a gift or a talent that you have and use it for good in the world, it's like, well, that's what I wanted. That's what I've always wanted to do. And gaming, I've always been at least decent at gaming, but it's always been something that I rather enjoy. And it's just like, well, this is what I can do, whether, it's a full-time job or not. So I would love to do this full-time, but of course the channel has to get bigger, views have to get more and more, that traditional kind of stuff. And eventually I do want to have like charity streams and everything like that, but in order to do streaming, I have to get better internet. In order to get better internet, I have to move, and moving is not always simple, especially when, you just got done building a PC. So, and getting all your setup ready. So there is a lot of stuff I want to do in the future with this channel. This channel is not going anywhere pretty much as long as YouTube is around, and this channel will always exist. If there's a different platform, this channel will still be there, but I'll also probably be on the other platform also. Because my whole goal is to just do stuff for other people. And that's what really, all those YouTubers, they're the ones that basically influenced my whole passion and renewed my passion for doing stuff and for helping the world. They renewed it. So I really owe those people. And, they got me from the brink of my depression where, I was so depressed, I couldn't do anything other than eat, work, sleep, and that's all I did. But they restored, who I was, and it's just like I gotta do that kind of stuff for other people too. That's it's like I'm not trying to be them, but it's like I said, it's one of those things where it's just like, this is actually a passion of mine, and to know that it can actually have a profound effect on other people and help other people. And it's just like, well, then that's my best option, is to do what I know and what I love. I know it may seem weird, but to some people, but to me, it's just like, there's no better antidepressant or anti-anxiety or whatever kind of medications there are for me than to do something like this for gaming. Gaming is a passion. And to know, even if there's one person out there, a quest guide helps, an information guide helps, or me being a complete goof at a game, helps, then that's more than I could ever ask for. More than I would ever desire with anything. And I just know, if the channel, keeps growing, the more people we can reach, I want to do more stuff for the community, more stuff for, you guys, the viewers. That's why I'm always so headstrong on wanting to do stuff for you guys. Make content for you guys, make different events, giveaways, it's for you guys. Because, I can enjoy this stuff anytime I want to. I can enjoy gaming anytime I want to. But maybe, somebody who's not viewing, maybe they're not as lucky. Maybe they don't have as good of a life, as luxurious as my life. So maybe they can't afford RuneScape membership, but they really, really, really want to. And that's why I want to do, those membership giveaways and stuff like that. I want to be able to do stuff like that for somebody. And as time goes on, I want to do more and more stuff for not only the community, but for, you know, the greater world, you know, charities. So I always wanted to do, you know, a bit of a explanation of who I am and how I got started and some of my passions for my channel. Well, for our channel, I should say. It's not my channel, it's our channel. And that really well sums it up. There's no over the top big sad stories, just when I know how severe depression can be, and there's different things about it. I know a bad case of depression was my mom. She actually tried to take her own life by an overdose. And, you know, we were lucky. We were able to find out that what she actually did. And we were able to get her to the hospital time and have her stomach pumped. And we got her help from there, and she's been a lot better ever since. And it opened up, you know, the family more, and we got closer. I know it sounds kind of dark that it would happen that way, but it did. You know, the family as a whole got closer. You know, my father, he actually became more understanding, and he started to listen more to my mom, which, you know, made her feel better. So, you know, from somebody who has depression in the family, it's a scary thing. Like, it can really change a person regardless of how, you know, foolish they know something is in their head. But at the same time, it's still that overwhelming that it's you can't quite control it like you should be able to. And it's how some people are. But that'll actually do it for this video. If there's anything you guys are struggling with, trust me, you can feel free to talk to me about it. Whether it's in game, on the comment section, you know, anywhere you feel comfortable with it. You know, I'm always more than welcome to talk. Like I always said before, my PM is always open, and it's always there for you guys to talk, or whatever. You know, if you just want to have fun too. If you guys have any questions, you know, for me, about the channel, about the goals, the community, anything, please feel free. You know, I have no problem talking to you guys about anything. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later guys.